You are listening to Words with a Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am. You are listening to Words with a Mad Coach. What's up, Mad World? It's me, Coach Sess. Sitting back on a Wednesday morning, thinking about MMA, drinking a little coffee, and I thought about this weekend's fight with Justin Gaethje taking on Khabib Nurmagomedov. I like that fight. I love that fight. Can't wait for that fight. And I am going to go with Khabib. Not because he's undefeated. It's just that styles make fights, and I think that Khabib is going to be able to survive the onslaught from Justin Gaethje, and I think that he is going to have to finish Justin Gaethje. I think Gaethje does bring a lot to the table. We often negate his wrestling because we don't see it as often, but I think that Khabib has to work on all the tools, all the skills, and he's going to bring it. In the fight with Conor, Khabib showed some tendencies to actually engage in striking in the later rounds. So I believe that if he can get Justin down, wear him down a little bit, make him a little bit more human, I think that's what's going to happen in this fight, that he is going to engage him in the striking because he himself will be a little bit too tired to take him down in the third and the fourth round, because the guy does have 80% takedown defense. So it's only going to make sense that he's going to have to be a true mixed martial artist for this fight. We just saw it with T-City Brian Ortega, where he had to use all the skills. I wouldn't say T-City had to use all the skills as much as he was exploring all the skills. But here's the thing. You better do that before you make it to the championship fight. Whether you do that by taking a couple of fights and practicing, whether you do that in the gym, you better make sure you have all the skills. Go back and listen to my commentary about Derek Brunson's last win. I said that if you pay attention to Derek's last 3 fights, Derek's been teaching himself. He's been learning on the job. And I think that a lot of fighters who want to stay at the top, or guys who have reinvented themselves, are doing that. They're either doing it in the gym or they're doing it in fights as they come up, and they're reinventing themselves by just taking on new skill sets, new mindsets. And I think that's what you're going to see out of the Khabib fight. I don't think you can expect Khabib to just come in and be this takedown artist, take this guy down, ground and pound him. I won't be surprised if it happens, but I don't think that's the expectation of the fight. I think he has more tools to bring to the fight. He is going to engage Justin when needed. I don't think you get the 20 plus fights in anything, 20 plus wins in anything, and not have a high fight IQ. It's going to be a great fight, and I look forward to it. And some on the heels of that fight, then we go into the following week, where Anderson Silva is going to take on Uriah Hall. There was a post today saying that Anderson Silva is going to retire. We will have to wait and see. You know, some of the comments that I read in the Fight Lab group is that, you know, we wish he had done it earlier. And I agree with that comment wholeheartedly. To the Izzy fight, it would have been a perfect time to do it, like a passing of the torch. That would have been great. But I just wish he had done it after he broke his leg. Honestly, you look at a lot of sports and you watch guys get these career-ending breaks early on in their careers, and they don't come back, or if they do come back, they're not the same player. Okay, so what do you think, was really going to happen when Anderson broke his leg at an advanced age? He's just not the same guy. Just doesn't have the same step. We want him to, but it's a romantic view. It's a very romantic view of who he is and what he was. And that's what we end up holding on to. It's more of a placebo champion in our hearts than it is an actual champion, an actual athlete that can still maintain and perform at the highest levels. I hope he wins against Uriah Hall, and I hope he keeps his word and retires. But we'll have to wait and see, because if you go out and win in a spectacular fashion, and this is all you've known, This is, I don't know about Anderson Silva working at a Burger King in his life. So this is all you've known for, 20 plus years of your life. It's just fighting. So if you go out and get that big, spectacular win, I don't know how you let that go. I just don't know how you do that. So I hope he does. I hope he can put it aside and say, no, this is it. I'm going to help the next generation. I'm going to build my son. I'm going to work on other fighters in the gym. I'm going to be a spokesman for the sport, an ambassador for the UFC. I hope he does something like that, because there are very few people who actually can be legitimate legends in any particular sport or organization. So I wish the Spider a win October 31st, and I also wish him the best after retirement. And when we look at Anderson Silva, one thing that we definitely have to talk about is his success, definitely as one of the longest reigning champions ever, and the amount of title defenses, the quality of his competition. Anderson's a legend, a true icon of the sport. I look at a lot of fighters who want that type of success, but the failure is they really don't know what it takes to get to that level, because they don't have a good idea of what success is. Biggest problem that I see with the mindset of success is that most people only identify the success in terms of the reward, the riches. And what I mean by that, Alicia Keys makes $1 million for singing. That's what most people see, is the $1 million. They don't realize that she has to sing well to make that $1 million. The success is her ability to repeat a performance. That's how I like to look at success, is being able to repeat a desired result. In other words, you set up some type of goal for yourself, and you find a way to get to that goal over and over and over. And you become the best at what you do. You become good because you've repeated it so many times. Repetition is the key. But most people will only pay attention to the reward. If you go into hip hop, all they ever talk about is the fat whip, the money, chasing the women. That's the reward. But they don't talk about is the process, the steps to get you there, to get you the success. And so in pop culture, most people hang on to the reward. They see Anderson Silva and they want the belt. They see Anderson Silva and they want the sponsorship. They want the money. They want the houses. They want the notoriety. They want the benefit of that thing, but not knowing how to create a process for themselves to get that thing. And you have to start with success, not the riches. You can have your eyes on the prize and still not have a process to get there. I know if I want to drive to California, it's okay that I know where California is, but I still have to have a roadmap to get me there. But most people just don't believe it. They don't believe it because they can't actualize it. So let's break down success. How do we have real success in anything? Okay, so the first thing you have to do is stop comparing success to wealth and riches. So let's give them some definition. Success is the ability to repeat a process that gets you a desired result. It doesn't matter what that particular thing is. It doesn't matter if it's a pickup game of basketball. It doesn't matter if it's the NBA championships. We know that there's levels to everything, but the underlying principles of success are going to be repeatable. So let's not make the thing a stumbling block, a roadblock. That's what affects or impacts your mindset. That's what stops you most of the time, because how you reference that thing in your head. The wealth has more to do with abundance and resources. If you have friends who have cars and you have access to those people, you have access to those cars, although you do not own those particular cars. When it comes to wealth, it's all about resourcefulness, finding a way to get things done. And I like to look at things this way. I like to break things down and get a real understanding of what success is versus what wealth is. My wealth is about my access. If you know a lot of things, you have a wealth of knowledge. You have access to information. So what are the rewards and the riches, which is what most people focus on, especially in the world of MMA. They focus too much on the riches and the rewards because that's what they want. They want the fame, they want the money, they want the power. The riches are how people represent their value. So if a promotion is willing to pay you well, it's because they value you or something about the way you fight or the things that you do. Sometimes they pay you well for what you do outside of the cage, outside of the fight arena. In other words, if you do some charity work, you're good with kids. If you look at WWE, John Cena, because of the impact that John Cena has made in his pro wrestling career and made in pop culture, they keep him at a higher level of the platform because he does a lot of charity work and he's very popular, and people want to see him at make appearances and they want to see him perform. So the WWE has put him in the spotlight, so they pay him well to keep him coming back because he is someone that's going to draw business for them. He is very valuable to that organization. So any riches that you have will pretty much come from the outside. It's about how well you do what you do. You have to be great at what you do. You have to understand what it is that you do, understand all aspects of the game, the business, as well as your technical skill. If you do that, you will have the riches and you'll be able to write your own ticket to some degree. Yes, some people have to negotiate for it. Some people get it naturally. And then if you think about sports, there's a cap. It doesn't matter how much you negotiate. They're only going to pay you so much. And when I say sports, I mean team sports. Now that we got an idea of, success being separate from wealth and wealth separate from the reward or the riches, let's ask yourself, okay, so how do I get success? And if you want to be great at anything, there are three things you're going to have to face off with. Greatness is self-imposed. That's number one. It's self-imposed. If you go back and look at the Jordan documentary that he did about his last year with the Bulls, and you listen to a lot of what he was saying, especially in the parts where it talked about his early career, if you listen to a lot of that commentary, Jordan made his mind up that I'm going to go out and I'm going to challenge the best guy on that team. And it didn't matter the result because what he wanted was a wealth of knowledge. He wanted an education because he knew that education would lead him to the success that he was after. So he made up his mind, I'm going to face off with the best guy on that team every night. Every team that he faced, he tried to shut down the best guy. And it didn't matter if it worked or if it failed because he got a result. And the result itself was the success. And the more results he got, the more wealthier he got because he could compare the notes from one night to the next, from one team to the next, 1 month to the next, 1 year to the next. And he would make subtle adjustments and he improved and he improved and he improved and he got better. That is how it's self-imposed. You have to put yourself out there. You have to make yourself available. You have to make yourself vulnerable. You have to put it all on the line, not caring about the result. You want to win. That's a given. Everybody wants to win. But most people don't pay attention to the win. They don't pay attention to how they lose. They don't pay attention to the difficulty. That is one of the problems when people win. They don't know how to break down the process to see which aspects of the game, of the fight, of the situation that allow for the win. If your opponent slipped on a banana peel right at the moment you were throwing a punch and you knocked him out, that doesn't mean you were winning the entire fight. You've got to be able to break down the very specific reasons why you were winning or why you were losing. If you're going to have greatness and you put that standard upon yourself, it's self-imposed, you have to have a way of going back to break down your performance. Because that breakdown is your wealth. That data is your wealth. The next form of greatness is expectation. These are the expectations that people have for you, and it does not matter if they are fair or unfair. So let's talk about fair. So Jordan, when he was playing with the Bulls, became such a talent that there was an expectation for him to take the last shot in a tough game. If it's very close, score was tied, and they needed him to take the last shot. He's part of the team. He's a leader on the team. And the coaches depended on him. The team depended on him. So in this sense, this expectation is fair. And it's generated outside of Jordan. This is not Jordan's self-imposed criteria for himself. This happens over time. People realize that you're good at doing something, so they develop a sense of confidence in you, and there's a expectation that you will take the last shot. So what is unfair expectation? Well, in the martial arts world, what happens sometimes is that a potential student, client, fighter will come to an instructor and say, hey, I don't have any money. Can you train me for free? Now, this is the most extreme. And the instructor will look at him and say, I can see the passion in this guy. I can see the desire. To some degree, I can see work ethic. And the instructor goes along with it. And they're together for, 3 to 4 years. And there's a certain level of achievement in those 3 to 4 years. And the fighter has not tried to pay that instructor a dime. He's not even tried to credit that instructor. Takes everything for granted that it's him. Then the ultimate thing happens. Boom. Somebody comes along, offers him a carrot on a stick, and he leaves the gym. So he leaves his home camp for another gym. When that happens, that's all on the fighter. It does not discredit that instructor. That instructor, being sincere and having a certain level of integrity, will still do what he does. He's still going to help you get to whatever level you're trying to achieve. Just because that fighter does not value that instructor, it does not mean that that instructor's value is lessened. For those of you, all of you coaches in my Coach Sess resource, because this is directed toward a lot of the independent coaches who are going to build a team, that's something you need to watch out for, because time is value. And you want to learn to trade value for value. If a person can't pay you, you want to learn to trade value for value. If a fighter comes to you and he has already an established fight record and he's shown the tendency to be on time, he has shown a tendency to get a certain amount of wins or whatever, he has something on his resume that says, this guy is worth investing the time into. So he may not be able to pay you up front, but you see that he has a certain level of consistency. So yes, I would say, get involved with that guy. Those are two examples right there that's really tricky, the fair and unfair, but it's still a criteria for greatness. Expectation is the primary point. It's still a criteria for greatness. People will have an expectation for you to do something, and you can or you cannot. It doesn't matter if they pay you. It doesn't matter if you do it for free. It doesn't matter if you volunteer. Just do it well. The third opportunity for greatness is going to come via a forced opportunity. Some type of threat that you couldn't avoid. Just dumb luck, chance, nature. Let's say that you're hiking out in the woods all alone. You sprain your ankle. Even worse, you break your leg. Now you're alone. So you have two choices here. You will either die or you will survive. So the survival part basically means that you're going to find a way to make a crutch for yourself. You're going to find a way to put your leg in some type of brace. You're going to pull the twigs. You're going to pull a tree branch down. Let's say you're not getting cell phone reception, so there's no help. There's nothing you can do. If you've got a backpack with you, You're going to look into that for some type of medical supply. You're going to find a way to get back to your home base regardless, or you're going to die. Those are usually your two choices when it comes to threat. Threat, you can't dictate because it's just chance. It's just chance. As long as you're dealing with people, you're dealing with free will, you're going to be dealing with chance. You're always going to be taking a chance. You take a chance every time you leave your house. So you need to make your mind up. Every day that you leave your house, you need to make your mind up for greatness. Because, you could walk out, check your mailbox, get hit by a car. That's the 3 levels. Those are the 3 levels of success that you're always going to be facing with. You're going to be dealing with just any random threat, expectations of others, and a self-imposed form of greatness. I am Coach Sess, and you've had words with the Mad Coach.